Welcome to the Animal Studies Unit Overview. My name is Holly Rosa, and I'm here to share my experience teaching this unit with you. Animal Studies was developed by Science and Technology for Children, referred to as STC. Boston Public Schools uses curriculum materials from two providers, STC and FOSS. Below, you can see the Animal Studies Teacher's Guide. Next, you will see a picture of all the materials that come in the unit and are delivered right to your school if you ordered your science materials. If not, don't worry, we'll talk about how to do that shortly. Third, you will see a student reader. This reader is full of nonfiction stories to help your students build background knowledge and dive deeper into concepts they're learning about in the unit. What are the big science ideas in this unit? To bring it back to one big idea, it would be animal adaptations. To break that down even further, students learn about animals and their habitats, environmental factors and the effects on the animal habitats, animal structures for survival. So how do they use their body parts to survive? Animal behavior for survival. So what do they do in their habitat that helps them survive? And this unit is a great opportunity to teach students respect and care for living things. What Massachusetts Science, Technology, and Engineering standard align with this unit? Well, this is a life science unit, and it connects to the standards that have to do with adaptations of living things, numbers 6, 7, and 8. What science and engineering practices are students most engaged in during this unit? Science is not only about teaching concepts, but also teaching students how to think, act, and communicate, the skills of a real scientist. When studying live animals in the classroom, students ask a ton of questions. They also build models of the animals' actual habitats, and they manipulate them through different experiments. And throughout the unit, students are constantly constructing explanations to explain how animals are using their behaviors and structures to survive. Teacher's Guide. Where can I find a teacher's guide? STC teacher's guides are given out when you attend the training hosted by the BPS Science Department. If you miss the training, you can email bps.science@gmail.com and ask how you can acquire a teacher's guide. FOSS teacher's guides are also given out at trainings, but they're available online. All you have to do is go on Aspen SIS, find the science page, and click FOSS instructions, and the codes are on page 11. How is the teacher's guide organized? Well, it's organized into tabs. And tab 4 is the most important tab. This is where the actual lessons and the worksheets are that you're going to photocopy for the students. Where do I start when I'm writing my unit plan? I like to start in the Unit Overview tab and go to page 4. This is a snapshot or a storyline of the entire unit and what students will be learning and doing over the course of the unit. So this is like your roadmap when you're going on a long road trip. And then page 5 has the unit goals organized by concepts and skills. This will help you write your objectives throughout the course of the unit. Materials. How do I get my Animal Studies unit materials? Well, you go to the bpsscience.weebly page and you scroll halfway down, and there's a link to a Google form where you can order your materials. Just make sure you check with your principal, the other teachers, or the science specialist at your school to see if they've already ordered. Science units get delivered 3 times a year to the loading dock. Again, ask your principal or custodian. They'll direct you to that loading dock. And don't forget, you have to pack up your materials to be picked up 3 times a year so your new materials can get delivered. Are the animals alive? Of course they're alive. This is the most exciting part of the unit for you and your students. What animals come with the unit? African dwarf frogs or clawed frogs, fiddler crabs, and millipedes. Now, the reason why you either have dwarf frogs or clawed frogs is the dwarf frogs survive in warmer climates, so they tend to die easier if we have them during a New England winter. So the clawed frogs, which are usually a little bit larger and more muscular and have little claws at the end of their webbed toes, can survive at lower temperatures. So you may get a coupon for one or the other, but they both work for all the lessons. Where do the animals come from? Don't worry, you don't have to go to the pet store and buy them. The order forms are in the boxes. How do I order animals? By phone, email, or fax, whatever is most convenient for you. We order from 2 companies. The smaller order forms go to Connecticut Valley, and the larger order forms go to Carolina. What do I do before the animals come? You set up their habitats. You want to be able to open those boxes and release those animals right into their habitats so they can get settled as soon as possible. I always like to discuss animal care with the students. I like to put the responsibility on them to do the daily care and upkeep of the animals. And I always check to make sure I have a food source ready and available at school for each animal. Now, most of the time it comes in the unit, but I definitely recommend a double check. Resources. Where are all the resources? Well, that's easy. They're on the bpsscience.weebly.com page. What resources are available for planning on the BPS Science Weebly? There's a blank pacing calendar, student learning outcomes, close reading, and common writing assignments. How can a pacing calendar be helpful? Well, here's an example pacing calendar I filled out for animal studies. I know I will teach the unit 3 times a week. I also put to the left over here when I will administer the common writing assignment. I'll use the close reading assignment that's available, and I always like to do a writing project with every science unit I teach. So during animal studies, we take this opportunity to write animal reports because students build so much background knowledge observing the animals and reading about them. And then over here in green is when I'll review and administer my post-unit assessment just before the unit is due to go back. There are also student learning outcomes available, which talk more about the pacing and the big ideas and the main content taught in this unit. So what literacy connections are available? Again, we have close reading questions with answers made by BPS science teachers. We also have common writing assignments where students can use the claimed evidence reasoning framework to create an explanation or argument. What other resources are available on the BPS Science Weebly page? We have science notebook rubrics, schoolyard lessons for the outdoor classroom, and MCAS questions that go right along with this unit and the answer. So that work is already done for you. Happy teaching. Live animals are so exciting. You never know what you'll observe. A fiddler crab blowing bubbles, a baby millipede, or maybe even an African dwarf frog egg sac in your habitats. So I highly, highly recommend this unit and enjoy.